And a part of healing my inner child is healing how I do relationships. Because so many of my relationships have just been repeat lessons that I was resistant to learn in childhood or in teenagehood.
I hope you find serenity. I hope you find serenity.
Peace and greetings, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Decentralizing, and I want to talk to y'all about how I have decentralized romantic relationships in my life. And I want to talk about why I did that, how I am actively doing that, and what the benefits have been. For those of you who don't know me, I am 28 years old. I'm originally from Georgia, which is where I am right now filming from, but I do live full-time in Costa Rica and in a very rural town. I made a video, I'll place it somewhere up here, maybe 2 or 3 years ago about how I talked about dating life in rural Costa Rica, and basically how there's really not a lot of men that are my type that I typically would date in that area. In particular, there's no really like black men, like of the African diaspora, really in the area where I live, and that's who I'm most attracted to in a romantic way. Not to say that I'm not ever attracted to others. I sometimes am, but that is my highest preference, to be honest. And I'm not going to reiterate everything from that video. Y'all can go back and watch it. But basically, like the way my life is set up there, I live very rural. It's a small town, and it's just not super enticing in that particular way. However, I do believe that I attracted that situation for a reason. I do believe that a part of the lessons that I've been learning lately in my life has been, well, like I share all the time, healing my own inner child. And a part of healing my inner child is healing how I do relationships. Because so many of my relationships have just been repeat lessons that I was resistant to learn in childhood or in teenagehood, teenhood. um, and mostly even repeating lessons that I wasn't able to learn through the reflection of my parents, and in particular, my mother. Certain things, challenges that we went through as mother and daughter. Sometimes my spirit called for me to attract partners with some similar characteristics to my mother, so that I could, in a new way, in a new dynamic, rather than the mother-daughter dynamic, in the like partnership dynamic, be able to face again that lesson and see how I handle it differently. And I have seen many times also, I've shared here on this channel how I grew up with a very severely autistic little brother. And I say severely just to say that he has severe behavioral issues. He is nonverbal, meaning he doesn't talk. So I grew up being one of his principal caregivers. I mean, spending the majority of my teenhood being like a second mother to him. And I also made a video about growing up with my brother with autism as well. But yes, he really taught me a lot about unconditional love and care. However, because I'm very comfortable being in the position of being a caregiver, I also sometimes attract those types of situations within romantic relationships. So this is just to give y'all a little background on what are some of the lessons I've been learning, because as you might know, when we attract a partner, they oftentimes can be mirrors to us. They can show us the things that we don't like about ourselves, the things we don't like about humanity, the things that we don't want to face, or we typically run away from. And being in a relationship is an opportunity to learn and to grow. And I have been blessed. I've had amazing partners. I'm one to say, like, I haven't just been in a bunch of toxic relationships. I've had beautiful relationships with men who I think are really like stand-up guys. In my life, my history with relationships is that one thing I will do is fall in love, y'all. Like, literally, for those of you who understand astrology, I'm a Pisces, Sun, Rising, Mars, and Saturn, and my Venus is in Aries. So I definitely fall very much in love. and I fall in love very fast, and I'm very tunnel vision. When I meet someone who I'm really enamored with, I just focus on them. Like, they might not even have made any inclination that they're interested in me, but once I realize that I really like them, I will fully like be cutting off other people, other like options or whatever, because I'm like, no, this is the person who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. And I immediately fantasize about being married. And I always hold a vision, for what my future can look like with this person whenever I get with someone. And I've been like that since I was very young. I mean, even in middle school when I had crushes and stuff, like I would visualize like what's life going to be like, how would I stay with this person, and like how will we get through the different things that life will throw at us to be together for the rest of our lives. Like, that was literally the type of person I was. And in times when I didn't have a boyfriend, I always had a crush or somebody who I liked or somebody who I was talking to, caked up on the phone. I always had somebody. So that was literally, in my opinion, a really big part of my existence has been romance and love and partnership. Uh, as far as the relationships I've had, I've only had a few really long ones, not even that long. Now that I meet other people who've been together for like 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, I'm like, I've never had anything like that. My longest relationship was for 2 years, and that was when I was in college. So that was from me being 18 to me being 20. And then after that, I had a relationship with a man for 1 year, from like 2020 to 2021. But we did like talk and like each other actively, maybe for 6 months to a year before the year of being in a relationship. So it was still kind of like another 2 year window of only dealing with this one man. But besides that, there were really no other law. Oh, and my very first relationship when I was in ninth grade was also for 1 year. So, uh, yeah, like I started dating him when I was 14. We didn't break up until I was 15, almost 16. So those were the longest experiences I've had being in romance with one person. And even last year in 2023, and if you are a subscriber here on my YouTube, you might have noticed that I made a few videos where I referenced being in a relationship last year. And then I didn't like make any type of announcement, that really wasn't necessary, but I didn't really share why or when or how that relationship ended. I'm still not going to give too many details right now. I'm just going to say that that relationship lasted like 5 months. And like I always do, I went in very much prepared and committed and wanting it to last for a really long time. But as the thing was, we got together soon after we met. So I think being together was also our time of getting to know each other. This is a common pattern I have, which is a part of why I'm taking my break from romance. Like, when I really like someone, I tend to be like quick to get into a relationship. So we just were getting to know each other in the beginning of our relationship. And honestly, there was nothing wrong with this person at all. He was really great. It was just that there were certain things about his life and my life that didn't mesh. He lived here in Georgia, I live in Costa Rica, and there was a lot of resistance, and just there's challenges to being in a long distance relationship that I think I wanted to be ready for, but in reality, I couldn't handle, especially even just the emotional side. And especially being with someone who had never been to where I lived. So, never got the chance to really witness how I truly live, how I interact with the people there. So, then there's a lot of things that are lost literally in translation when that person is witnessing me only through social media or only through the phone. They haven't like been there, like to really see what I have going on. And I could feel that how I lived and how he lived, like he was really not about that life to live how I lived, and not in a bad way. His life is perfect for him, and my life is perfect for me. And they just didn't really weave together with ease. So I just decided to be like, I don't want to force things. I think actually it's better to separate so that we can each live our own lives and not feel like we keep having to force to try to fit things together. So yeah, after that relationship, I felt very skeptical because I was like, I really, really cared about that man and I really wanted it to work. And when I realized it didn't, I was like, okay, I need to slow down because it does cause harm when you get into relationships and you're very committed. And then, me being who I am, being like, my feelings are not how they were when I first met you, or like things are different. And we have to acknowledge like what's like energetically going on here, what's in the flow. And that if you're a fellow like mutable sign, like my Pisces, my Virgos, my Sagittarius, my Geminis, then you might get it. And the fixed signs, you might not get it. You might not be able to handle that changeable energy, that energy that's like, okay, I know I committed to this 2 weeks ago, but now, based on how I'm feeling here in the present moment, I cannot honor that commitment. And that's on honoring where I'm at. And yeah, I've had that experience pretty much in all my relationships. At the time when they end, I've been broken up with maybe once or twice. It definitely at least once. Most of the time, I'm, the one who's initiating the separation. And when I say separation and also the change, like the shift, because some people who I've dated, I still am light friends with, like not people I really talk to, but I still follow them on social media and can witness them and not feel any type of way and be like, oh my God, I'm so glad he's doing well. Like, big up to him. Right. So some people who I've dated have been able to forgive and let go and obviously have moved on from the separation. Some, maybe it was a harder thing for them. But either way, having that experience with this most recent relationship really taught me that I need to take more time before I step into those types of dynamics with men. Because I know how I am, especially if we get to having the sex, y'all. And we're going to talk about it. As soon as I do that with a man who I like, who I'm really interested in, I feel extremely attached. And a part of what I want to share with y'all is that I've also been on this journey of celibacy. And I say that term lightly because it's not like I'm waiting till marriage or I have some kind of exact amount of time that I'm going to wait. It's just that I'm no longer practicing just, first of all, having sex with guys who, so there's two ways that I've had sex in the past, which is having sex with a guy who I really like and typically then getting into a relationship with him, um, or wanting a relationship in like after having had that experience with him. Or I have to have sex with guys who I simply don't like. I'm not interested in for real because I'm trying to experience just sex without all of the emotions and without like the depth that comes with being in a relationship. And I spent a lot of time, in that experience of having sex with guys I didn't like. And that's how I feel like that's what breeds promiscuity in a way, because you don't like them, you can't keep having sex with them because it's like as soon as you're done, you're like, I don't really want to keep being around you. I would just really wanted that physical aspect or whatever. And so then you want to go to somebody else and essentially use them for those lustful desires. And it's not always like it's not always a negative experience. It can be really fun and thrilling, and the other person can be very understanding of the dynamic, and you separate with love, and it's all peace. I can see you in the street and say, hey, and it's not even like a big deal. Like, it's not always like, I'm not trying to take a stance necessarily of saying that it's negative, but I will say that it's just, I don't resonate with that at all anymore. I don't resonate with it because it feels uncomfortable then for me to feel like I've given myself and the divinity that I feel more for myself and like the self-love that I have now. I'm just like, I feel just so valuable. And I feel like when I give myself to a guy that I don't really like, I'm like, ew, like, I don't even really like him for real. Like, he really did not deserve that. He really didn't deserve that. So I'm just gonna wait until I come across someone who does deserve it. So that's what led to celibacy, because I also am like, I'm not rushing into any other relationship. And in fact, I'm still learning so much. I'm still learning so much. I'm just a 28-year-old baby. And I want to fully process some of these lessons, that the ones that I share with y'all in the beginning of the video. I want to fully process some of these lessons before I even engage with someone in that way. And I know how I am. I am so loving, y'all. I'm very loving. I'm very sensual. I'm very sweet. When I get with a guy who I really like and I show him the level of love that I show him, like, and we have sex, he in love. He's fully in love. And all that stuff I was saying about me, how I get with people and I be so in love with them or whatever, it be met with the same energy. Like, it's not like I be in love and like the dude doesn't like me at all. Like, these dudes be falling fully in love with me as well. We be in love together. And I don't want to even pull at anyone's heartstrings because I just know I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to be in a committed relationship. I'm still learning a lot of lessons about myself. I'm still drudging up the things from childhood and teenhood that needs to come out and needs to be healed. And it has to just, like, I'm not even looking for it. Like, it's not that I'm even close to it, it's that it hasn't been manifesting. It's actively not happening for me. It's not that I'm even just saying no, it's that it's not happening. It's not manifesting. It's not aligning with my journey right now, because this is a time of celibacy. This is a time of being alone. All my life, I've been in so many romantic dynamics. Like, why not literally fast from romance? Literally taking a full on break from being in that dynamic. Because I'm like, if I don't want the whole thing, then I'm not gonna go in and like half-ass it. Like, I'm just gonna keep being just with me, becoming a better woman, so that when I do attract this divine masculine reflection that's in alignment with my journey, meaning he's in a place where what he's doing in his life and what I'm doing in my life, that they're aligned, that they somehow come together and support one another. That the way I live